Hello and welcome back to another segment of Ask Elle, where I feature your nurse and healthcare consulting questions to really help bring clarity to your launch and operations and the scaling of your healthcare consulting firm. So this week we're going to feature a question from one of our members of the Nurse Consultant Masterminds on Facebook. And yes, you absolutely can join the group if you are not already a member of our community. And this week's question comes from Karen. Karen is a newer nurse consultant, and looks like Karen's also a member of our Nurse Consultant Network Academy. So happy to feature your question, Karen. So Karen asks, what niche topics are best and how to get clients? And I'm going to just change your question around just a little bit. It sounds like Karen is really interested in knowing what specializations or niche areas of consulting would be good to move forward in as a consultant. And so this is a question that we get often. When it comes to consulting, a lot of nurses per se are really only introduced to the legal nurse consulting business model. And while that's a great business model to follow, I just want all of you to know that there are many different other specializations that you can move forward in as a consultant, utilizing your background and your experience. And so when you think about moving forward in a specialization, there are some things that you need to think about. One of the things you really need to consider is what areas of healthcare are you really interested in? As a consultant, you're seen as the expert. So this is an area of healthcare or a topic that you're going to have to be truly passionate about studying and educating leads and clientele and presenting to an audience of those who are interested in learning more and writing literature, including blogs and books, etc., to grow your thought leadership. So if it's not an area that you are just not passionate about, then I wouldn't move forward in it, especially if you're really not interested in staying on top of trends and staying on top of the literature that comes out about your specialty. So that's one thing you really want to consider when you're thinking about what area should I specialize in as a nurse consultant. So make sure that it's an area that you're really interested in learning about it and reading about it and educating those often. And when it comes down to an area that you're interested in, some of the best consultants have utilized their previous experience, their previous working experience to move forward in a particular area of healthcare consulting. So think about your past work experiences. What units did you work on that you really were happy and interested in? You were that resource nurse or professional on that unit or in that department, or what roles specifically were you in, and what were your job functions that you really enjoyed doing? A lot of times, even in a particular role, we are consultants. We are troubleshooting. We are solving problems. Others come to us because they know that we are a great resource and we have the answer to that particular concern that they have. So you're already a consultant. If you enjoy the role that you're in, take a step back and think about, okay, what problems am I really solving for this organization? And how can I go out and do that independently on my own? And there, you've just tapped into a specialization. So think about that as well. And something that's really, really big that comes down to determining what specialty to move forward in. You want to make sure that you move forward in a specialization where there is a need for the problem that you're going to be addressing. So if you're moving forward in an area of healthcare where there is no priority or urgency to solve this particular problem, then you don't want to waste your time running behind leads that really have no interest in addressing a concern. And so let me just back it up a little bit and say this. As a consultant, we solve problems. when it comes to identifying a specialty for you to move forward in, you should be solving a specific problem that warrants urgency for your potential lead to pay attention and want to solve that problem also. So when you're thinking about the specialty to move forward in, you have to think, okay, what is the true problem in this particular area of healthcare that needs to be addressed? And it should be an expensive problem. And just to give you an example of that, I work, not work, but I have my own consulting firm in the online crisis management space. So I know the exact costs associated with my lead ignoring a particular problem at their organization. And when they ignore that problem, it can create a crisis. It can create a disaster and really tarnish their reputation. So because there's urgency behind the problem I address, it's a great specialization for me to move forward in because I have the experience to back it up. I have the expertise to back it up. I'm passionate about the topic, and I know for a fact that my ideal client needs help. They can't ignore this problem. So you want to think about all those different factors when you're thinking about a specialization to move forward in. It makes a big difference if your ideal client, can deal with this on their own, they can make it work and just get by, or if this is something they have to solve, in the next couple of weeks or months. If not, there's going to be consequences to pay. So think about that. Well, Karen, I hope that answered your question and you have some clarity around what area to move forward in as a nurse or a healthcare consultant. And for those of you who are interested in submitting your question to be featured here on the show, feel free to drop your question in the comments. If you're watching me on YouTube, just put hashtag AskElle. Or if you're a member of our Nurse Consultant Mastermind community, you can also submit your question there. Just put hashtag AskElle and I'll be sure to feature your question here on the show. You all have a very prosperous week. I will chat with you next time. Take care. Did you find that video informative? Well, I've created some amazing resources for healthcare professionals just like you who know your worth and you're ready to be compensated for your expertise. So head over to thenurseconsultantnetwork.com and learn about the many resources to start your consulting practice inside of the Healthcare Consultant Academy. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.